Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool.
I'm Jimmy Jamison.
No.
Right, so, been reading a book, philosophy book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Haven't finished it yet.
Okay.
I'm 60 pages in. It's by Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, professor. Is professor or doctor like the higher title? I think it's professor, but I'm not sure.
A doctor is if you're a doctor, you have a PhD. A professor is if you're a doctor who's teaching people and you have a doctorate.
Yeah, I think you also might have to get, like, I don't think just having a PhD and teaching people makes you a professor, though. I'm not 100% on that.
Well, you might have a PhD and also have a teaching degree.
Well, Professor Peterson, anyways, has written this book, and I've been reading it. It's called Maps of Meaning, and he's got this, so far, there hasn't been much. It's mostly just been him saying that he sees people as, this isn't what he says, he takes 60 words to say this in a very, I wouldn't say it's the best written book. It's very, like, the words are all correct, but they're hard to follow. And he writes that basically we are computers which can program themselves, is his point almost. It's like, we look at a thing, we have our imagined goal, and we try to get to that goal. And then something will come in the way that'll change, and so we have to adapt how we get our goal, or we have to adapt how we view the world, and then we can continue to the goal. But if the thing is so big that it totally changes our worldview, then it'll take a lot of more reintegration. He calls this a descent into chaos, and it'll take a lot more reintegration to make the chaos work. If you descend into chaos, you'll have to completely restructure your worldview to get the right idea of the world. And basically, we have an imagined goal, we go to the goal, but when things get in the way, we have to change ourselves. And yeah, that's basically the start of the book. Very simple. And he calls that like a descent into chaos, and then order arises from the chaos as you reintegrate your wrong imagined views about the world. And he also goes into saying, like, all your views about the world are wrong. Like, you can't have perfect knowledge of everything. So you're going to have to constantly do this reintegration. And so I don't think you can really be right. I think the best thing you can do is be flexible.
Influenced by the latest philosophy you've read, and it's just the truth now to you.
Well, he's not actually saying anything. He's not actually made any statements so far. Like, that's just...
But, I mean, you're just the latest thing. You're just like, oh yeah, that's right.
But that's just how it actually is. Like, if you have an imagined future, imagined perfect future, like, I want that sandwich. And so you walk towards the sandwich, and that is your goal to get there. And then you slam into a sliding glass door. Suddenly, you break into chaos. Your view of the world is wrong, and you have to restructure it. And then there's a glass door on the way. I open it. And so you change how you react in the world, and then you get the sandwich. Like, that's just how reality works.
Should I just, like, leave Marx
Order from Chaos
flying about, or, like, Nietzsche, and see what happens to you?
Well, actually, this Maps of Meaning is actually he's trying to expand on Nietzsche a bit, actually. So, and to some parts, Nietzsche is involved.
I'm just saying, like, I leave random philosophy
in opposition
about.
to Marx.
Just leave random philosophy.
I haven't gotten to the philosophical part yet, because that's just how things work. Because he is a psychologist, so it's just how brains work, as they understand it. Yeah. But they've come to this very interesting thing recently, as in when the book was written in the 80s or something, where because classical psychology would have it that fear is a learned behavior. So you shock a rat and you make a light go on at the same time, and that means that the rat becomes afraid of the light. Because whenever the light turns on, it's a shock. So it might be afraid even if you turn the light off. If you turn the light on and there's no shock. The rat might still be afraid of the light.
But he's also afraid of the dark, so when you turn the light off, he's scared too.
Poor rat. But so the classical psychology was that fear was taught and learned. Because you get bit by a snake and you're afraid of snakes. You touch a hot stove, you're afraid of hot stoves. But what they're finding, in the 80s is actually more like fear is the baseline state and knowledge gets rid of fear. So basically, you live in a state of constant fear, and the only thing that protects you from it is knowledge. Which I think is actually really...
more valuable than cars.
Really cool, because... Well, think about it, like, fear is your baseline emotion. What does that, like, tell you?
Everything's scary.
No.
Until you learn it isn't.
You have to categorize everything. Everything is chaos, and chaos is fear.
Alright.
Chaos is something that is uncategorized and unbounded. But yeah, chaos is fear.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
Well, it's more like you feel anxiety. So here's the thing that's useful with it. You feel anxiety when you are unaware of what there is when you're unaware of, when you haven't classified things, when you are aware that you haven't classified something, that's when you feel anxiety. So if you see a bear and you haven't yet classified it as dangerous or safe, you feel anxiety because you don't know how to react. Yeah. And so that's breakdown into chaos. You don't know you don't know how you should react in this situation. And so you can learn how to react, and then you will not feel fear when you see a bear. That's the same thing with like gunshots or something. Yeah. So people used to think you get acclimatized to something, like if there's like a constant steady rhythm, like beep, 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 and then randomly there's a different sound in there, it'll cause you to jump. You'll be anxious because, as you can see, because you weren't expecting it. And so your pattern of the world is beep, 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 and then this random slap comes in. And so you're not expecting it. However, if you do it enough times, eventually you won't jump, even if it's random. And the reason for that, people thought you just kind of get like desensitized to it and get bored. Mm-hmm. But what it actually is you've classified a random clap as being nothing. You're like, okay, random clap doesn't signify any danger or anything. That's just what happened. Which is really cool, because then if you're feeling anxious at any time, you can actually use just knowledge about your brain to figure out, okay, why am I anxious? For instance, when I make apples every day, I kind of go like, oh, I want to get this over with because I have to make the apples, and it's bothering me. I want to get this done with. And it's such a weird thing, because it's like, why would that make me anxious? And so I sat down and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, you know what, it might be that I'm worried that while I'm making the apples, I'll be missing something. I could be doing something better. Something will come up. So I want to get it over with as quick as possible, so because I don't know what I'm missing. So anxiety is the state of not knowing. And so the question is, what don't you know? Like maybe you don't know that. Maybe I think that, like, I don't know how safe or dangerous it is to make apples. Maybe I'm worried that I'll, like, stab myself while I'm making them, and I don't know. But I don't think that's the case. Yeah. I think it's probably something more like, I don't know what I'm missing while I'm making the apples. Because I have a very bad, case of, like, the fear of missing out sort of thing, where I'm, like, worried, like, oh, if I do this, what I'm missing. If I do this, what I'm missing. Mm-hmm. It's like, whenever I ask you to, like, if you want to do something, I'm always like, do you want to do this or this? Because there's always, like, I'm always like, oh, I really want to play Smash Bros, but I also really want to play Streets of Rogue. So I'll ask both, so I can't miss out on either, but then I'm always going to miss out on one. And
then you make me just go cross-eyed.
Because there's too much stuff. That's why, I've said it again and again, but there's just too much stuff, and I want there to just be something that overwrites it all. But the problem is, once you have, like, all the good stuff, you keep looking for more still. Like, I do, at least. I keep looking. I'm like, okay, I've got more games than I could ever possibly play. They're all really good, solid games. I could sit down, and some of them have insane replayability and mods, like just play them over and over again. And so then I'll be like, yeah. And while this game's launching, I'm going to browse Steam for, like, a new game, because I'm sure there's, like, a cool, like, roguelikes. I keep looking for roguelikes on Steam, and I haven't, like, NetHack has, like, infinite content.
Is that, would you categorize that as gluttony or greed? At first I was thinking it's gluttony, but it might be greed. Because gluttony is excess, where greed is just trying to have everything.
Yeah, greed isn't, like, a classical sin, though, if you're going by the sins, because envy is the one, not greed, right?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought greed was part of 7, so was envy.
Because you've got, right, so we can use the
7 Deadly Sins?
The 7 Deadly Sins. There's a series called The Keys to the Kingdom, which each character has a deadly sin, and they're named after the days of the week. Yeah. So, Monday is sloth. Yeah. Tuesday is
greed. He is greed.
We'll come back to Tuesday. Wednesday is gluttony, obviously. Yeah. Thursday is wrath. Yeah. Friday is envy. Yeah. Or no, sorry, Friday is lust. Yeah. And Saturday is envy. Yeah. Sunday is pride. Yeah. So that leaves Tuesday with
greed.
Maybe, I guess.
Tuesday's greed.
Well, what's greed versus envy? So greed is like, I want it all, and envy is like, I wish I had what you have.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, greed is you want it all.
Yeah. I don't think it's greed. I think it's constant dissatisfaction. I think I think probably most people, but I could be wrong, live in a state of constant dissatisfaction, because that's how you improve, and that's how the world, like, that's why we invented computers instead of, like, they figured the Neanderthals died because they were content? They were content, yeah. Like, they just sat around and, like, had a place they liked, whereas people, we do things that are terrible, like, if you do any math on it for, like, you know, the next, like, 200 years, 300 year, like, run, you have to look in, like, terms of thousands of years for it to make any sense. And we'll do stuff like, what's across that ocean? Let's find out. Let's send, like, 10 million people to, like 100, let's say 50,000 people to go die or something, crossing that ocean. And then, like, 100,000 will make it across, and they'll be like, it's a new continent. Let's settle here. And it's like, this place is too cold. Let's go south. This place is too hot. Let's go north. And we're just spreading constantly because we're totally dissatisfied. It's like, this place, this cave, easy access to food, easy access to water, easy access to like beautiful sunrise and stuff. You know what? This is boring. I'm going to invent chess because like, geez, this is... I want to fight things. I actually think if we get rid of war, we're going to really need to ramp up the war game market because there is seriously some... I don't know about you, but when I play like a tactical game, there's some need being met. Like, I need a bit of like fighting and violence in my life. Like, I mean, and like the strategic element as well. Like, because I need the strategy side. I also need to like wrestle and punch stuff. But, you know, like there's the strategic element where you just need to plan like some soldiers' demises and stuff. Like, I think it's just like a...
I sort of get that thing. Like, I sort of like every once in a while will go, ooh, I want to join a martial arts group just so I can like do some sparring.
Yeah.
However, like whenever you join a new one, they have to like teach you a bunch of stuff, and I haven't found many that do sparring. And I just want to do this straight up sparring.
Yeah, well, they have to teach you so you don't hurt each other while you're sparring.
Yeah, I know. I just want to do sparring.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just get like one of those sumo suits and like just go all out. Yeah. So yeah, there's too many things, right? Like constantly looking for the next thing. So something I did recently, like last week, I wanted to talk about it last week, but I forgot, was I've recently unsubscribed from every YouTube channel.
I also, I took my phone and I just put it away for a while.
Actually, well, I honestly think that phones aren't good for you. Well, first of all, I did the math, and I was thinking about it. I spend about $40 a phone call to make a phone call. So it would be much cheaper if I just had a payphone in the house, and I could put like a quarter in every time I wanted to make a phone call. Because I get in like one phone conversation a month, and I spend like $40 a month on like... So I'm spending $40 a month. So I'm spending $40 a phone call, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I should switch to maybe minutes. I don't know.
Use your phone more.
Or use my phone more, yeah. But I don't use it that much. And I also think that, well, first of all, it's hard to use a phone in a way that doesn't hurt your eyes or back or neck. And also, like, your hands are all cramped up because they're little. And so I don't think it's, like, good for you physically. And I think that, like, corresponds to a mental thing. Also, bright light blaring into your eyes, so it makes you really tired and exhausted. And it's also constant... It doesn't let you think because you want to carry this thing because you can carry it with everywhere. So like, I'm going to sit down and use my phone. I'm going to go to the bathroom and use my phone. There's no time to actually... You have to be bored for like a good hour or so before you can really start to think productive thoughts, I think. It's like, so you really have to...
Well, counter to what you're saying, for me, I left my phone here while I was elsewhere for about a week. And I kind of just didn't notice. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not getting phone calls, whatever. Or it really didn't affect me. Like, people are like, oh, it's so free and liberating not having phones.
Well, when people say that, though, they're not talking about something that you gain. They're talking about something that you didn't lose because you were losing your freedom and now you have it. And you don't notice when you have it. You only notice your freedom when it's gone. So now that you have your phone back, except you don't have your phone back. Once you get your phone back, you can then make a comment on it. But for now, you can't. Because because you don't realize you have freedom until it's gone.
Okay.
Sure. So unsubscribed, not sacrificed, from all my...
sacrificed to all my YouTube channels.
From all the YouTube channels I was following. I recommend all listeners do so as well. So that's the thing, right? YouTubers are obsessed with like, subscribe to this, subscribe to that, and all this. But you notice that they get like maybe, if they're like a really popular YouTuber, they get like 10% of the views of their subscribers. Which means it's just a numbers game to make you feel good, basically.
Yeah. Also,
you get recommended more with more subscribers, so it plays the algorithm. But like, it's basically like you could have 0 subscribers and 1 million viewers every day. Like,
yeah.
Like it's just a numbers game, and of course YouTube does reward that, but
But people also love numbers games.
When you follow, like when you chase a trend or follow like YouTube's like recommendings or stuff, what happens is instead of doing what you want to do or what, like, this isn't anything. This isn't just YouTube. This is just everything. Like absolutely everything. What happens is the moment the market changes, you're left high and dry. Whereas if you just do what you want and suddenly the market shifts to like, hey, we like this, you become the market, or the market might just pass over you and suddenly you're doing it exactly right. So there's not really a point in chasing like the ideals. It's like the same idea with like, people, it's like go to university, get the secure job, but then you can get fired from that secure job when the company goes bankrupt anyways.
Yeah.
So you might as well just like, become I was going to say alcoholic, but that's not a job. Like a risky job.
But
you might as well open up that hair salon you always wanted to or something. Because you'll probably fail at that too, but you know it doesn't really matter. Like if you're gonna fail, you might as well fail at fail
at your dreams so they're destroyed.
Like when we play Smash Bros, right? Mm-hmm. If you fight off the edge, like you're like way more likely to die, but you're also way more likely to win, and that's how you get good, is pushing yourself on that edge there. Like you don't get good playing it safe, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you should unsubscribe. Weird. Yeah, but it's like, you know, you don't get good when you
don't follow the man.
Well, follow the man if you want. Do what you want. That's the thing. Like just do what you want, and if everything lines up, that's good, because it probably won't anyways. So you might as well do what you want.
Yep.
Like I know this guy. He's a friend of mine, and he was really upset in life because he was well, he wasn't like super upset, but he was sort of like nihilistic. He still might be, but he's like very much like, I just don't understand. Like life doesn't seem to have any meaning. Like it's just all seems all so pointless. And he's also talking about how he's like afraid of like talking to people and like you know, talking to girls, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was the case, but it was stuff like that, you know, or like, well, I'm so anxious about I'm anxious about talking to saying the wrong thing and doing this and that, and like, where am I going in my life? And I said to him, like, you know, if life doesn't matter, then do whatever you like. You know, run around the streets naked, because life doesn't matter. Like it's very freeing if you don't. And like,
why does your mind immediately go run around the streets naked?
Because it breaks a current social taboo, so it seems extreme compared, but it's also non-harmful.
Oh no, it depends on the person. It could be pretty harmful.
Like you could say, like, go on a killing spree, life doesn't matter, but that's a horrifying thing. Like that is actually,
yeah, but I mean
like that's actually, I do think life matters is the thing. But that argument, like going on a killing spree, life doesn't matter, is scarily compelling if you don't think it through fully. And
why though?
But why is exactly it. Like if there's other people that think life matters, why take that from them? Like if life doesn't matter to you, does it harm you to?
Why kill?
Well, it doesn't actually matter, I guess, is the thing. Like it doesn't matter if you make people's lives better or worse, because their lives can't actually be better or worse.
Yeah, but
so it doesn't actually matter. But if there's a chance you're wrong, and you probably are because you don't know everything, then maybe you should use your unlimited freedom to
run around the streets naked.
Yeah, or something that doesn't affect the people that might actually be right, that their life matters. Like, because maybe you're right and life doesn't matter, but you probably, well, you don't know everything. You might get right by luck, but you probably don't know everything, so why take that from other people, basically? I think, like, it's kind of a Pascal's wager sort of thing. Pascal's wager is the idea that even if you don't believe in God, you should worship God and believe in God, because God will... because if there is a God and you die, you want to go to heaven. Like what's the worst thing that can happen if you worship God? Like it's like, oh well, you know, exactly. Like do you want to go to non-existence or hell, or do you just want to worship God on the off chance there is a God? Of course, the common argument people use against Pascal's wager is, what if you get the wrong God?
So Pascal's wager is where you have to.
Why do you repeat? Like, why do you do that?
Because it's a small joke I did off the whole thing of Fermi's paradox.
Yeah, but why?
I just kept repeating it.
But why?
Because it was amusing me at the moment. Oh no.
So yeah,
I'm doing it for fun.
Unsubscribe from all the YouTube channels I used to follow. I still watch their videos, but the difference is I have to seek them out. So I'm like, I want to see what the Yogscast is up to. I want to see what PewDiePie is up to. I want to see what...
Wait, you unsubscribe from PewDiePie?
Yeah, I debated about it, but I decided that... I don't know. I considered keeping him, but then I thought, like, it's basically the same as just creating a fake account to subscribe to him at that point, because my account is no longer used for subscribing to anyone. So I thought, you know, it was a difficult ethical decision, but
you gotta subscribe to PewDiePie.
Yeah, but I could just create like 10 fake accounts and subscribe to him.
Well, yeah, that's just what you do.
But they're meaningless numbers unless, like, the whole point of subscribing to PewDiePie is to show that people support an individual creator who has made it big rather than a corporation. Even though the corporation is headed by like a guy that was like quite poor and then started this great thing and everything. But it's like the idea of corporation versus individual. And even though PewDiePie owns a corporation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but it's the semantics of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you're going to show popular support by faking votes, it's not actually popular support.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, the other side does it too, so it balances out. You're just creating a worse world.
Yeah.
So, like, what if a war happened and nobody came? Like, well, we have to go to war because they're going to go, but what if nobody came?
Yeah.
That said, I don't know. War is such an extreme example. It's hard to... That's the other thing Jordan Peterson talks about, is that we talk about like life descending into chaos. But our lives, we build such crazy societies, like such crazily protective societies. We have no idea what real chaos looks like. Like, it's like, oh man, my best friend just stopped talking to me. It's like, wow, it's crazy. It's like, yeah, but like a dam didn't burst and like carve a new channel so that your fields all died and like you suddenly had to restructure how you lived. Or maybe all of a sudden the earth didn't go around the sun didn't go around the earth goes around the sun, and your conception of the universe is totally thrown out of whack. Or like there's much larger things, and that's even a fairly small one, honestly.
Yeah.
So unsubscribing from them, I'd recommend it because you it really helps you focus. Like you don't jump around anymore so much. Like, because I don't know, it's given.
All right.
Because here's the thing, right? So a subscription box is something that you go to, and it's a list of things you have to do. There's all these videos you have to watch. Whereas if you seek them out, then you enjoy every single video because you are looking for them. Whereas instead of it being a duty, like, you know, if you like if you're reading a book series and you're kind of like, but I have to get through this book to get to the next one, and it just becomes a duty almost to read it, then you're not actually having fun, or you're not even being entertained. You're just slogging through because that's the thing to do. Like people that binge watch a TV show and just hurt themselves doing it, basically, because they're like, oh, I want to get to like season 3, but I have to watch these 2 or something. Like, you gotta, like, if you actually seek it out and it's a pleasurable activity every time, then that's living, you know? That's actually using it. That's using it as it's intended to be used. But they're designed to instead keep retention, so they add like their bells and their subscriptions and like their day streaks. Snapchat does that, which I think is a horrible idea. Snapchat adds like this: if you send a picture to someone, they send one back, like and you do it in a day in a row, start counting your streak. And so like Gen Xers will they'll be like, okay, I'm going on a holiday. My friend has to take over my Snapchat account so I don't lose the streak, because it's just this artificially inflated thing. Or there's games that'll have like a daily subscription reward, like come here and you get a reward every day, like mobile games a lot. And the horrible thing about that thing is it basically makes it so it's not like, oh, I feel like playing this game today. Oh, I don't feel like playing it. Oh, I feel like playing it. It's like, have to play every single day. I need the rewards. And they're designed to like hook you in and stuff. But if you break free of that, then you're actually using them for fun instead. But it's very tricky too. So I think help like unsubscribing from everything and then seeking them out. Also means I've spent a lot, like I have a couple extra hours a day because I'm not watching like a lot of stuff that I just forget. Like I don't look, I'm like, oh, well, I guess this person's probably done something, but I don't really care to check. But if I really care, like there's a podcast I follow and I haven't checked on it in like months, even though it probably has tons of episodes, but I'm like, whatever. So I think it's really positive. I highly recommend it.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher. I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
1, have you not spoken to anyone in a week and so you just need to speak? Or are you doing cocaine?
What are you talking about? I'm full of energy and vim and vigor because I've unsubscribed from all the YouTube channels. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling the best I have in years. I'm feeling amazing. Because it was really sad, right? Because one of the YouTube channels I unsubscribed from was Total Biscuit, and he was the entire reason I watch YouTube. Like, YouTube was basically, I go to YouTube to watch Total Biscuit, and then other stuff is just me watching it to wait for a Total Biscuit video to come up, basically. And so I unsubscribed from him. I don't know, I found it quite sad because he passed away, of course. And that guy, honestly, if you're game design, journalism, ethics, if that's your thing, his old videos, I can't even watch his old videos. I just find it too sad. But he was something. He was
one of the good ones.
Yeah, he was one of the good. There's some stuff he did that I disagree with quite strongly, and some of his beliefs even quite strongly.
But it doesn't mean you have to dislike him.
Yeah, well, also,
you're
a lot of the stuff he did that was that I disagreed with. He snapped at some people, for instance, after the American election. He was saying, he and his wife even had a rocky time, which is ridiculous, the fact that I know that. Why should I know about this couple's life? I don't know them, they're not my friends. I don't, why? And it's just, they were both having their argument on Twitter, and everyone was talking about it, and you shouldn't, I think Twitter is not,
healthy.
like, you shouldn't be sharing your life with Twitter. You should keep your life to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, but anyways.
But if you can broadcast your life, then it really matters because other people care about it.
So yeah, anyways, he was very unhappy with a lot of people during the American election and this sort of stuff. But honestly, the guy had a lot of mental health problems and was dying for years. And like, I can give him basically any size pass he wants because like he did so much good. And the stuff like when you have a depressive breakdown or I think he had anxiety, but you have like a breakdown of some sort, logic goes out the window. Like even emotions go out the window, really. You just feel like despair or you feel like everything. You basically become like a paranoid, like crazy person. Like every single doubt or fear you've ever had becomes the reason for something. Like it's like, okay, it's like, oh, this person didn't do this, so that means that it's because my parents never loved me, and because I was never cool enough in school, and because I broke up with that girl and everyone laughed at me, and because this and this and this, and it's just every fear becomes to the forefront. And so it's like it's very hard. Like once you start identifying it, it's a lot easier. But like, man, you got to give people like some get out of jail free cards or something, like some like, hey, you had a breakdown, that's fine, it happens. Like people aren't like perfect, and the thing is like, back in the good old days, like when you had a breakdown, nobody knew because you were alone and like isolated, and so, but nowadays you can like reach out to people and like send them text or something or Facebook and be like, I'm having a breakdown. You send them like a 500 long page. I've done a few of those, like text to people, and you get like.
And you get a reply, lol.
Lol.
You poured your heart and soul into writing several essays worth of writing about how bad your life is right now, and then you just get, like, 5 minutes later, just, boop, lol.
One that I did, I sent out to a bunch of friends in 2012, I think, or possibly 2014, I'm not sure. But I think it was 2000. I sent out to a bunch of friends, like, I was sick and tired of being dishonest was sort of my thing. Like, I felt like the times I've truly lied in my life, I think I said, and it was like, I can count on the number of, like, I can count on the fingers of my hands. Like, I've very, very rarely lied in my life, like, in a true full-out lie intended to deceive. And I was like, I'm sick of it, like, but I've done all these, like, partial lies. I'm sick of it. I want to be, like, 100% honest, whole truth, nothing but the truth sort of thing. Yep. And I want to, like, be honest, and because I think I was feeling, like, really lonely, and, like, I wasn't. And the other thing, I think I don't really remember the like exact specifics, but I seem to recall I had this big issue where when I talk to people, like I have a mechanic friend. When I talk to him, we'd talk about mechanics. I have a friend who plays a lot of soccer. When I talk to him, we'd talk about soccer. I have a friend who plays a lot of video games. When I talk to him, we'd play about video games. And I for some reason, have a little bit of interest in all of these, so I was able to talk to them about all that sort of stuff. And like I have a friend who's interested in trucks, so I talk to him about trucks, and like on and on. And I felt like I was being dishonest because I was like molding to become the person that I was like talking to, like I don't know, social chameleon or something, like because I wasn't talking about my interests. Mm-hmm. And looking back, though, that seems ridiculous because it's okay to be interested in
other people's stuff.
Yeah, and like everything.
Things. Yeah.
But I sent all these.
Trucks are cool.
I sent like this copy pasted message.
They go
slightly tailored to a lot of people, to like a bunch of friends, and. It almost looked like someone having like a suicidal breakdown. It wasn't, but it just like a lot of friends were like, oh, are you okay? Or like, no, don't worry. I always liked you, and we're just haven't hung up because of this, and all these messages. And I came across one recently because I was trying to figure out some timelines for some stuff, and I sent to this friend, and she was like, well, what was this about? Like, you all right? And like, do you need to talk? Like, I'm happy to talk. And I was like, and what I replied to her was, this might have been half true because I think I did have a very vivid dream that like sparked the whole thing. But I said to her, oh, no, sorry, it's okay. I just had a really vivid dream. And so I just sent this message about, I want to be 100% honest and clear with my feelings. And then she said, oh, geez, are you all right? Like, do you want to talk? And then I said, oh, no, sorry, I just had this really vivid dream. It's okay now. So it's like, I have a friend who posts on Facebook, like, I wish I had like deep friends and we'd just immediately talk about like space and science and like philosophy and all this sort of stuff instead of like trite things. Like gossip and like this sort of stuff at the start. And it's the people that say that are the ones who are doing the trite conversations, because you just have to talk to someone and you can like instantly open up. Like you just have to talk a little bit. But the people that are like, I want to be honest, and well, at least when like you see that a lot where it's, and I did it for sure in that case. It's like, I want to be 100% honest. And it's like, whoa, you want to talk? And it's like, nah. Because the other thing is, I learned this lesson over time. Something that seems like a 100% logical, sound, good, deep, emotional, from the core of your being thing at 11 o'clock at night.
Lol.
Seems stupid at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
like
lol.
Like, you do not send I made a rule where I wasn't. This was before I made a rule where I wasn't allowed to like have my phone in my room past like 9:30 basically. But it used to be like don't send a message past like 10:30 or something was the rule. Man, I used to stay way late. I used to stay up to like 11:30 and stuff using my phone, and now I like stop using electronics by 8:30 normally, 9:30 at absolute most, and go to sleep by like 10:30. Like, well, I don't fall asleep.
Lol.
Old man. Yeah.
I find that thing like that. I was internally like cringy inside. We were talking about like sending messages to everyone.
I cringed so hard reading it again. I was like, ah!
Because that's, I don't know, that feels like fishing.
I cringed reading it the day after though.
Yeah, that feels like fishing for,
I know,
something like
sympathy or something. Yeah.
Like I had this,
but it feels like you're pouring your heart and soul out in the moment, and then the next day you're like, oh great, I have to do damage control. I had a dream where I was lonely and dishonest.
Cameron, it's the second time you've used that I had a dream, and you were really bad the first time you did it.
Well, this time I've done it then. I had a dream, I was lonely and couldn't connect with people and dishonest, and I wasn't immediately jiving with them, and
lol.
And so don't worry about it. That's the best thing you do. You just go like well, the problem is I don't drink, because otherwise drunk texting is like the secret. It's like, I love you! Sorry, I was drunk. That's like, I wish I could get away with that. I just have to go, I love you! Sorry, I was too honest in the moment.
Sorry, I'm just too perfect.
Sorry, I lost control of myself.
100% honesty.
Can we go back to the lie? It's less painful, because I know you will never reciprocate.
Yeah.
I actually had one thing. Now, you see, sometimes when you lie to yourself enough, you can lie so thoroughly that you change your memories.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure on this. But from my memory, I think I actually Tekkelman a poem in my sleep.
I can say for me, I know every single lie I've told, and they're like burned into my soul.
Yeah.
And it
okay, I'll say mine.
Sucks.
I think I know mine.
Yeah.
That I like straight up. So this one wasn't a lie. It's just there was a thing of candy when I was like 14, like this bowl full of candy, and I ate one without asking Dad first. And like he was away at work, and I saw it there, and I ate one without asking, and I felt really bad.
Romney said something very interesting, and I think he said this on the podcast before, but I think it's true for both of us, which is he said, "You're not good people, you're terrified of punishment." Like, he said that to me. Like, he's saying, you're not a good person, you're just terrified of punishment.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. I'm not sure. I don't think that's true of me, but
I was a little offended by it.
I had a friend ask me once, like, because he was sick of how goody two-shoes I was. Yeah. And he was like, come on, look, would you do like a crime if there's no one around? You're in this empty field, no one could ever catch you. And I said, well, no. And he's like, what? No one will ever know. Like, you can get away with it. But I think for me, it's just that my values mostly align with society's values. Mm-hmm. So exactly. I just don't like... The one thing I would do, although I do wish at the same time I disobeyed my parents more when I was younger, just a little bit. Like, I don't know, stayed out later, or I don't know, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Just because I do think you do... I'm not sure how to be a parent in that regard, because you have to say the things that you want your kids to do, but you also kind of want them to fight back against your rules just a little bit, because they need to. Yeah. Like, they can't just roll over.
Push the boundaries.
Yeah. So they need to stand up for themselves. So I wish I'd done that more.
Yeah.
And now I can't, because I'm like living on welfare basically. So if because it's their house, their rules at this point. And,
yeah.
But once I get a job, I'm gonna break all the rules.
But at that point in time, you won't want to break them anymore, because now they make sense. Hello everyone, you're listening to The Fool and the Philosopher. Just doing a little break here like they used to do in the old radio shows with the DJ. Just filling that role because I think it's needed to break it up every once in a while. So, enjoy.
When I was living on my own in Victoria, and I was shopping for groceries, I had a lot of money back then. Yeah. I had a place of my own. I had like several quite successful, quite well-paying jobs, a lot of money on my own, place on my own, could do anything I wanted, basically. Like, no one told me otherwise.
And you just sat in your basement and cried about silverfish.
Well, there was that, but I was grocery shopping, and there was a candy aisle in there, and like candy apparent, I had no idea. I always thought we weren't allowed candy because it was expensive or something.
It's really cheap.
It's like insanely cheap. I could have bought like 100 pounds of candy and like not dented my bank account in the slightest kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to.
I know!
I didn't want to buy any candy. Yeah. And I was just like, why didn't I have the money when I was younger?
Sarah Mori Breakfast Cereal did comic on that, where this woman's like, I'm all grown up, I can stay up as late as I want to, and then she's like, oh, I'm really tired. Well, I can eat all that candy, I feel sick, and she just like does 3 different things, and she phones her mom. It's like, Mom, now that I can do all these things, I don't want to anymore because I don't have the child naivety to know they're bad anymore, or the ability to recover quickly. Everyone's like, I know, this is revenge.
It's like, why didn't you let me do it when I was younger?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's the case of this is revenge, but
but what I ended up doing is instead of candy, I went for higher brow stuff a few times. When I was feeling like kind of down, I'd buy like an entire tray of Nanaimo bars and then just eat as many as I wanted, and it was glorious.
And then you feel sick.
No, I don't. No, Nanaimo bars are like food enough. Like they've got a bit of coconut, they've got a bit of the crumbs at the bottom, they've got a bit of green stuff, oobleck. They've got a bit of the old oobleck. The other one was where was it?
Apple fritters.
I didn't have those. There's just Nanaimo bars basically, but a lot of Nanaimo bars. When you can eat as many Nanaimo bars as you want, that is a glorious.
Yeah, it makes you feel rich.
Well, it makes you, sort of. I don't know. It just makes it not rich so much as like.
No, Cameron, Cameron.
This is
living. You go back in time, right? Yeah. And you have a tray of Nanaimo bars.
Oh yeah.
And you give it to a group of cavemen.
Oh yeah.
They're like, holy, this stuff's amazing.
When I started the diet, shortly after, the neighbor came over with this massive cake. He's like, I need someone to just eat this for me. And I was like, well, I could have come like a month ago. Because, man, that was always like the best day. It's like remember that time that person had like 200 leftover cupcakes that they had
frozen. You could just like, I'm going to have a cupcake.
So our dad had a girlfriend who just made way too many cupcakes for an event. And there was like, 50 to 100 to 200.
It was around 200 to 300, I think.
Like an insane amount of cupcakes left over from the event. And she's like an amazing cook. So they were like really fancy cupcakes, all of them. And so we just stuck them all in the freezer. And then you'd just be like sitting there like watching a movie or something by the fire and be like, I'm going to have a cupcake. And then you eat it and be like, that was good, I'll have another.
Yeah.
And like you just do that like for like a year.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like that was awesome. And then there's the other time that the Boy Scouts had, or the Girl Scouts, I can't remember, their van broke down. Yeah. And so our dad like towed it out and fixed it. And then they're like, okay, we have all this leftover food we can't use. Do you just want it all? So we had like insane mounds of French toast, bacon, eggs, like hash browns, like all the, and it's like, this is just like ambrosia as much as we want.
Yeah, eat it for a week or more.
It's like those moments are the best, except I can't have them anymore because someone will be like, hey, I accidentally picked too many broccoli stems. You want them? Because that's what you can eat, right? Yeah.
The thing for me, which I think, this was a weird moment, where I got like horribly sick, I think in grade 11, and our dad had left and our mom had left, and so was our stepdad, and you weren't there.
Yeah.
And so I was at home.
I think I was in Victoria.
Yeah, you're in Victoria. So I was at home.
And Dad was actually visiting me.
Yeah, I was at home for a week, actually like almost unable to take care of ourselves. And so ourselves.
Got a little split personality while you were there. You were so sick.
I remember almost nothing of that. It is weird. Like, I was in a purgatory state, but our neighbor, really nice, she's like, my mom basically felt so bad, like she'd left me with a bunch of food when she's supposed to be gone, and I was too sick actually to eat this food because my throat was swollen up. And it's supposed to be like, the deal was like, alright, I'll take care of the house and the dog, well, you're gone, and you get like all this really nice food. And I couldn't have any, so my mom felt really bad to also just leave me. And our neighbor like came over and said, do you want me to cook food for you? It's like, here, I brought you a bunch of donuts, and just like, I can't eat these at the moment. So she's like, oh, don't worry, just put them in the fridge until you can have them. And she's just like, do you want me to make you breakfast? Here, I'll make breakfast at my house, bring it over to you. And it's just like, you are amazing.
That's one of my, like, big regrets is, like, I always, like when I was little, like, I'd very rarely get donuts. Like, maybe occasionally I'd get, like, one or two. And I always wanted to just buy a big box of Timbits or donuts and eat them all and, like, be like, yeah. Because, like, you know, once I was on my own and I could, like... And I was gonna. That was one of my life goals, basically. And we also have like a gourmet. There's like gourmet donuts now in the world, and like those are so incredibly good. And now I can't even eat donuts. And I've never got to do it, and I feel like
you're cheated.
I just like. Why do you restrict kids? Let the kids do everything, because they're just gonna get horrible diseases later in life and can't eat food anyways. They're probably all gonna get diabetes, so you might as well like let them eat as much sugar as they want when they're young.
I'm also trying a little bit of an experiment with this whole podcast, adding a lot more music to the background, so you might be hearing that every once in a while. Anyways, you're listening to the Philosopher. Yeah.
So yeah, the second lie I did.
Just quickly, another note on the whole like Facebook thing, like reaching out, is I have this like suspicion or almost like knowledge that my friends have like a chat group I'm not a part of, and like they go like invite people to group like events and stuff, and like I'm not invited. They might not just like, oh, like Connor just want to go to these things forever. And like one time before, I sort of asked like, oh, I never talk to you guys anymore, and like a friend of mine, like she felt kind of bad, so she put me on a new group, and that one died because the groups just seemed to die. It's like, I'm not on this. Well, fine, I'm not on it. It's just they didn't invite me to it. Whatever. And I was like, at moments that I've like felt like, oh, I should ask them about it. And I was like, meh, don't care.
Well, like, my friends have a group that one of them isn't in.
Yeah.
And the reason that it just sort of happened because he was in the groups, and he never said anything, and he never came to any of our events.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, well, there's no point in sticking him in the new groups, because he's not going to do anything anyways.
Yeah.
And also, like, see, that's the sort of thing, like, when you send out those horrible messages, you're like, and nobody puts me in their friend groups, and it's like this paranoid, like, ramblings, and that's why Total Biscuit gets a pass as well.
Well,
because you just...
well, there's this weird thing, like,
And even if they are in, like, groups, maybe it's because you're a loser, like, jeez, I mean...
Yeah, I don't know, but...
I'm a good older brother, aren't I?
Yes. There's this weird thing, which, I feel...
Is that good or bad older brothering? Calling your younger brother a loser?
If I know it's a joke, it's fine. Alright, anyways, moving on before you can say anything else. If I know
but in this case, then, is it okay?
If I know you're saying it as an older brother, it's okay.
Okay, I guess what I should say instead is something like, maybe you're not interacting enough, so
yeah,
they don't...
no. Maybe something like that.
Because I remember you like turning down friends for like weeks in a row. You're incredibly introverted.
Yes.
You're like the most introverted person I know. The other like anyone more introverted than you would be impossible to know because they'd never leave their house.
Yeah, they won't communicate with the rest of the world. But first things first, thing I was going to say is a friend of mine. She's like, oh, Romney's going to be gone, like one of her friends, and like you're going to be gone next year, and it's like it's going to be you and me, buddy. She said that to me,
yeah,
and I felt really bad because I'm leaving as well. It's like, Katie, I'm trying to like go to school in Lethbridge.
Well, hopefully you don't get in. You know what I was actually thinking?
I just felt really bad about that because she's like,
well, you want to feel worse?
Yeah.
So like I've been looking for a job for a while, of course.
Yeah.
And there's one that I'm applying for right now, and I don't know if I'll get. Like, it seems unlikely, but I really hope I do. But I was thinking, like, you know, when I get a job, like, maybe I should, like, get a place. And I want a roommate this time, because last time I lived by myself, no roommate.
And you went insane.
Yeah. Well, there's more to it than that, but yeah. So I was like, I want a roommate. And I was thinking, hey, like, you could be my roommate. That'd be kind of cool, possibly, because we hardly see each other anymore, and it could be good. And I was like, yeah, Connor and I, like, we could be roommates and stuff. And I was like, oh, you're going to school.
Yeah.
So I could also. So I was like, oh, then I could just like move to Lethbridge and like be roommates with him there. But then I was like, oh, but then I wouldn't have the job.
Freedom.
So yeah, hopefully you fail, I guess.
Well, like partly, like, no offense to my dad, but what you're saying about me being incredibly introverted is our dad like wants to do stuff with me, and a lot of times like, oh, I did like one thing with him this week. I did a lot of stuff with my dad. Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I did so much.
Well, no, that's not even what you do. You're like, I did one thing with him this week. I've done a lot of stuff with people. I don't want to see any more people this week.
Yeah, it's like, I've done a lot of stuff with people. I'm tired stuff. And then my dad's like, so yeah, wherever you go, I'll probably like live in a nearby city or something. And like part of me is just like, ah! But the other part's like, oh yeah, that's cool.
You know,
it's just like a little bit inside me just screams.
No, well, I sort of debate, because where we live, I'm like, I love it here, but I don't want to live near my parents. So I don't know where I'm going to end up. Because then you'd have to like visit them all the time.
And then your parents follow you.
Well, that's creepy at that point.
Well, there's actually the one, like, my one friend, the one who I was saying, like, she's,
like, if I move, it's to get away from my parents, so...
Yeah, well, the one thing she said, like, with her, like, the person with, like,
well, not
have
always.
none of her friends here.
Yeah.
But, she's like, if I move, my mom will follow me, and then her parents will follow her, because they're getting old, and, like, I was like, oh, yeah, your grandparents, like, her grandparents live really near your mom's house. And it's not like, oh, really near, like, they live in the same city. It's, they live, like, less than a block away from each other, sort of thing.
On the other hand, if you do live, like, across the street or something, on the plus side, you can just sort
of... lock your doors and pull down your blinds.
Well, no, it's more like, you don't have to ever visit them, because you can just, like, step out on the balcony and be like, morning! Yeah. And, like, that's enough.
Yeah.
You'd hope.
That's enough for me. It's like, morning! And then go back into my...
Yeah, honestly, like,
I go back into the basement in my house and, like, leave the upstairs just abandoned.
Yeah, like... yeah.
Actually, if I could live in a basement that had, like, no windows to the upstairs, which is unsafe, I would.
No, you do not want to live in a basement. You do not. That is the worst. That's how I went.
No.
I lived in a basement.
You lived in a basement with windows that could look outside, slightly.
Yes, but there was no light.
Yeah.
Like, you need light.
Or if I could live on, like, a top story of a tall building that I know is solid.
My bedroom, right?
Yeah.
My bedroom gets no light. It's in, like, the worst corner possible. There's no light in there. And...
gets more light in my room.
Like, no, it doesn't. Because the sun doesn't come that far.
Yes, right.
It gets no light. And that is how, like, when the light went out in my room was, like, a depressing place to be in. And it still is. I don't like being in my room. I feel depressed in my room. Like, I feel depressed as in, like, you know, like how a mattress is depressed. That's the kind of depressed I feel. Like, I'm not saying mattresses are sad, more they get, like, I feel compressed, maybe?
Yeah, like memory foam that's been lied on by a big, solid guy.
Oh, my bed's memory foam, and I swear it's ruining my body. It's because it's sagging in the center.
Yeah, no, get rid of memory. Seriously.
Well, I don't have money. If I had money, I'd not... I'd live in a mobile fortress. I don't know. More money. But I moved my computer from my bedroom to a room that faced the south, and it was way better. But then I did even better, and I changed to a place where the sun shines on my face, and it's like...
And I unsubscribed from all my YouTube things. I don't have my phone in my bedroom.
And I don't eat gluten anymore, and I, like, most of my clothes are made of hemp, and, like, I'm just, like...
Hey, Kevin, I have a test for you.
Okay.
So, when you meet someone new,
yeah,
what's the first thing you tell them?
I don't eat gluten. Well, actually, it tends to be a lot of the time because I meet them at, like, a dining thing.
Yeah, you're lost.
But, actually, no, I say I don't eat food. I met this waitress recently, and she was saying, like, you want anything? You were there.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't eat food. And she's like, I had some weeks like that. And I was like, are you joking? Or, like, anorexic? Or, like... She was quite skinny.
Yeah.
And really, really tall.
Yeah.
She's tall. She's like 6 feet or something. I don't know. She's tall.
Well, I mean...
Good on her for being tall. Shout out to the waitress for being tall.
Our dad had a...
Shout out to Rebecca. Best waitress I ever had. So I was at Boston Pizza with some friends. We were out drinking. And we were... no, drinking, not snorting lines of coke. That was next Saturday.
That's what I say. That was just like... You did that this morning or something.
So we were out drinking. And... we were just having a great time, like, playing all these games. Like, we had this one game where we'd be like, all right, name a topic. Okay, Connor, name a topic. Magic cards. All right, name a card that starts with A. And then name a card that starts with B. Name a card that starts with C. We were doing stuff like that. It would be like, countries. Australia.
Yeah, you've told this story.
Yeah, but not here.
Yes, you have told it here.
No, I haven't. Okay, so we were doing all these games, and we were singing tons of songs, making up our own lyrics to songs. And then we were just in the restaurant drinking. And then... our waitress, her name was Rebecca, very nice. She apparently went to the same school as me and one of my other friends that was there. And so we got her to sit with us for a while, and we're talking to her. And then she got off shift, and she sat with us for a while longer. And then she left, and then the person that replaced her... So shout out to Rebecca. She was awesome. She was really fun to hang out with. The person that replaced her was like, it's 11:30. Is that all? It's like, no, we'll take another drink. And then she came back, she's like, that all? No, I think we'll have one more. It's like, that all? We're finishing our... Like, she was very naggy. Was not pleasant.
It's one in the morning.
They were stacking chairs on top of the other tables and like turning off the lights, and we're like, she's like, all right, can I bring you your checks? It's like, how about one more beer? And she's like, she I don't know, she was very unreasonable. We went through 2 waitresses, and then they kicked us out. So
last call.
We weren't even spending that much money. Like, I say we were drinking, but like it was like a drink, nurse it for like an hour, get another one.
So weird to hear you talk about drinking.
Yeah, well, that was, and then like, you know, because you gotta like have some like
time to sober up.
Well, no, you need like, you can't just drink and not have food. So we also like just had like, we baked some cocaine into like little patties. Actually, you sort of like when you make
crystal meth.
Is it crystal or crack cocaine? Are they different? I think they're different.
They're slightly different, but it's crystal meth.
I think it's crack cocaine.
Oh yeah, it's crack cocaine.
Where you mix cocaine with baking soda and then
cook it.
Add water and then cook it.
Yeah.
And so you sort of get, but that would taste disgusting. You would not want to eat that.
You dissolve it on your tongue.
Or like, yeah.
Yeah, you just dissolve it.
And then you snort it.
No, you do not snort it.
I'm not an expert in taking drugs.
Yeah, no. I'm not either. However, I took a lot of courses in schools.
I used to have a friend who was an expert, though. He was also a drug dealer. He would have been useful. We should have had him on.
I had a friend who was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
It's like, you need something, he'd give it to you.
He mostly worked down south, but he was like, we were having a debate in class about some drugs or something, and then he's like, stood up. He's like, no, that's not true. You need like a concentration of 35% of cocaine to get this result, and then the heroin. But you could get that with heroin if you did this. But also if you mix it with this. But then he just went on, and it's like, holy cow, this guy knows his drugs. And then like that's the drug dealer I want. If I get a drug dealer, I want them to know their stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
some scary things about drugs too.
Yeah. So
like your cocaine addiction.
I'm not addicted to cocaine. It's just a habit. No wait, no, I don't take cocaine. I don't need cocaine. I just take cereal. The gluten's all I need. I'm high on life. Classic. Right. Life cereal.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. So second lie was I wanted to make like the router work or something, or I wanted to plug a computer into the router, like a laptop into the router or something. And so I had like the Ethernet cord, and I just like jammed it into one of the holes on the router. And it just wasn't working. I was like, dang it, this one's like a tough one. So I just kept jamming it in. Or was it that I was trying to pull it out and I didn't realize it had a release tab or something? Anyways, I totally wrecked that port. And then Dad came home and he was like, what happened to this cord? Do you know? And I was like, no. That lie didn't last very long. He's like, well, then how did it happen? I was like, I did it! The evidence is too much. There was no way I could have...
Yeah, no, Robbie's right.
No, I wasn't afraid of punishment. The lie was just weak. I couldn't maintain it. Like, it was like, well, then who did it? Like, that's a cutting question. Like, you know, it's like...
No, yeah, who did it? Connor. And I just say that, I like technology. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Oops.
Did you kill James Jamison? Oh, weird. Name's coming up a lot. Yeah. But did you kill James? No? Well, then who did? All right, fine. You got me. There's no other way it could have happened. I was the only one in the room.
Did you strangle James? No. Who did? Timmy No Hands. You mean the guy who's in the wheelchair?
Well, no, it's not even that. It's like, there's just like, there was no one else in the room. You're right. I did it. And,
no.
Let's see.
Did you commit the crime? No. Do you want any other defense in the court? No.
Let's see. That's basically most of my lies. I'm thinking, like, there was the one where it was kind of, it was like a soft lie, so I don't know if that even counts. I've done a lot of, well, that was the thing the text was about as well. I've done a lot, I'm very good at telling the truth in a way that totally deceives people. I think I am. Maybe they're just playing along.
Yeah.
But, like, people are like, where have you been? And it's like, to the park. Okay. Because the park contains an opium den, but they think I was at the park.
So, let's see. Currently, the persona you have given is you are a bully who hates wimps, who dislikes most video game companies because they suck, and you also do drugs, and you're a liar.
Yeah, except my obvious lack of knowledge of drugs probably shows that to be wrong.
People who take drugs don't have to know anything about them.
Well, you hope they would know something.
You just might die.
Want to do your research. But so it was 9/11, I believe. And I remember because it was such a big day.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I even remember that day. I was like 2.
You were getting picked up from the daycare.
Early. It was weird.
I think it was 9/11. It might have not been. But I was at your daycare so I think that was the case. But anyways, I was there, and a girl that was a year older than me was there too. And she was sitting there, and she was saying, "So who do you like in class?" And I was like, "No, I didn't really say anything." And then she's like, "Do you like," I don't remember the names, but she's like, "Do you like this name?" And I was like, "No." "Do you like this name?" "No." "Do you like this person?" "No." "Do you like this person?" "No." "Do you like me?" "Do you like..." Smooth. She never noticed. But
oh, the lies! It's too much for me. I love you.
But no, the lie was more saying that I didn't like those people because honestly, they're great people. I liked them. It was like I should have been like.
And also the lie was you saying maybe because there's like no chance in hell you liked her.
Well, was it her that I said or that I said maybe to, or was it someone else? I can't remember because
I wasn't there.
Because I don't know if I would have said that about her. Like she was older than me. Like she was a year older, and we were like 6 and 7 or something, or like 8 and 9. I don't know. Like if it wasn't 9/11, I don't know. We weren't like super old.
Yeah.
So she would have been like way older than me comparatively. So I'm not sure. Like she was past her prime.
Don't talk that way when you're talking about your 6 or 7-year-old self.
But I am talking from my 6 and 7-year-old self.
It's just disturbing. Like, also when you talk about yourself when you're like a little kid and a gangster, it's disturbing. Like, it's seriously, like, it's almost as disturbing as, hey, have you broken up with your abusive boyfriend? Like, it just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. I never got that girl's name or number. Like, because I was actually worried about her and her abusive boyfriend. It wasn't a pickup line.
I actually really did care about her and her abusive boyfriend.
And her really attractive face. I mean...
I didn't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Alright, I don't know who you are or why you're listening to this, but since you are, I'll remind you that you are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher. I'll also remind you that we use the music of Adrian-von Ziegler and Vindsvept, because that's the polite thing to do. Also, to one of my listeners, if he is listening, feel no obligations whatsoever to do anything.
No, I hope she's doing good. If you're listening, I don't even remember your name. It might have been Taylor. You had like white blonde hair. You were from Australia and in teaching at UVic.
And you're
if that describes you, and you had an abusive boy. Oh. If you're listening, I hope you're better now. And if you're not, stay away from everyone. Like, jeez. Yeah, get help, actually. That's nicer. I was...
My name's Michael Johnson.
If that guy had appeared in that moment, I would have attacked him. Like, I don't know. The mindset I was in, I was ready to kill him. Like...
Kill him?
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to kill people.
Not really. Like, I mean, we're pretty tough animals, but like...
No, okay, 2 things. I do want to talk about this, because this is one of my pet peeves about talking.
Yes.
Where someone says it is really easy to kill someone.
Well, people are like really tough as animals go.
It's
like we're one of the hardier animals.
Not even just... Alright, first there is the thing, which is extremely psychologically difficult to kill someone. Even in a moment of passion, like, or accidentally even. It's really hard to kill people. Also, though, just physically, like doing the act, people don't want to die. They are not just going to sit there and take it. They will fight back. They will react.
Use every dirty trick in the book. Yeah, like you think, oh, I'm going to use dirty fighting, so I'll take them down. They're going to dirty fight too. They're going to tear out your jugular with their teeth. Like, actually, that's tricky.
I mean, actually, if someone's in a fight and they think they're just like, oh, it's going to be a fight, and then the person they attack is a dirty fighter, then they go down. But that's a different story. I've told.
Well, but you can like jump back and like you can like you think, oh, I'm going to win a fight because I'm like the dirty fighter who's crazy and willing to sacrifice everything.
Yeah, exactly. No, those are like really brutal, messy. Like in those movies where it shows like 2 people having a fist fight, and it's to the point where it's not like, oh, I punch him in the face now. It's like they're both basically crawling on the ground, like trying to punch each other still because they're so exhausted.
Well, here's the thing. I was in the mindset where I was ready to kill him, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean I would have killed him if he had showed up. Mm. Like maybe we would have fought or something. Yeah. And like he probably would have whipped me because who knows?
You're a skinny nerdling.
I'm not like weak.
You're a skinny nerdling who had both his shoulders dislocated.
Yeah, but I'm not, like, weak. I'm not, like, I'm, like, actually probably better than most people on Earth at fighting. Doesn't say much.
That's just because you have a brother.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay. I'm probably not better than most people on Earth because a lot of people have siblings.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've got a siblings, and...
People with pathetic.
I know.
No offense. It's just you are.
Yeah.
It's just a fact.
I have a friend who has a sibling, and I did, like, this little, like, joking punt. No, I was trying to grab a necklace off of him because he was wearing this necklace. Like, what's that? And he just, like, blocked my hand. I was like, wow, do you have an older sister? Oh, yeah, you do, yeah. Because it was like... Because I know this guy who's, like... I threw an eraser at his face and just bounced off. That was weird.
Yeah,
aren't you supposed to block it?
Or like...
Okay, so I'm not gonna... Okay, so I take back what I said about being, like, an amazing super ninja fighter, dude. Yeah. No, I even take back what I said about being, like, better than most. It's probably not true. I don't know why. Well, I said it because I have secretly, deep down, I believe it, but it's probably... But logically, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
But secretly, deep down, I still believe. I want to believe it. You always want to believe you're, like, a secret, like, super killer. That...
You want to believe you're a good fighter and never get into a fight. However, you secretly want to get in a fight.
Because you have too much honor.
But you secretly want to get in a fight to show how good of a fighter you are. Yeah. And then you get into a fight and you fight without honor and you beat people up and then... Yeah.
So, anyways, but I probably would have, like, if he had showed up, first thing that happens, he's like, oh, what you doing? And I'm like, leave her alone! And... Like, what you do, right, is you grab them around, like, right around the ear where their head is, because they're not expecting it, and then you just have amazing leverage, and you just throw them to the ground, and then you jump on him, and go for the throat right away is a good way to kill him. But at that point, he's already at your mercy, and then, like, it sort of leaves you. The fight leaves you a bit, because you're like, I'm winning. I don't need to kill him anymore. And then he, like, punches you in the stomach, but then you're just, like, grappling on the ground.
And then you're in that pathetic fight where you're barely able to punch each other.
Yeah, but then once you're grappling, like, I mean, then you become best friends, and, like...
And then you abuse the girlfriend together, and...
I didn't... No, I hope I made a difference. But if I didn't, that's fine. I just hope she's better. Like, yeah, so if you're listening, Taylor, if that was your name, I hope you're doing better. And, if you are obsessed with Walla Walla, Washington, and listening right now.
No, I was just more thinking, like, you say this.
Yeah.
And, like, just for whatever reason, there's someone else named Taylor who's blonde from Australia who had an abusive boyfriend and got talked to by some guy named Cameron who looked like you. But it was, like, 2 years after you left from Victoria.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well.
On another thing, I had this, like, really cool thing I wanted to talk about, like, before a podcast, and I didn't write it down. And then you just went on about your thing with Jamer Joe Jameson or whatever. And my brain literally got wiped. Like, all thought left my brain. I couldn't think for a few moments because I was, like, focusing so hard on that thing. And you wiped it from my brain. I just went blank, and I still don't know what it is. So I had something really interesting. It's gone.
All right. Good. Yeah, so other lies.
Yes, lay out your soul.
Because I seem to remember back in 2014 or so, I had, like, 5 in mind. So that was, like, 2... Because the one where, like, I was talking to the girl wasn't one of them. That was just, like, I don't know. I just thought of it now. I don't know. It's hard to think of them. They probably didn't matter that much in the long run. Like, like the 2 that I thought of were, like, huge life. Like, that started my life of crime. Eating a single candy and feeling really guilty about it when I didn't ask. Even though probably didn't need to ask anyways.
I seriously, like, conceptually, the thing with our dad being gone... And us wanting to use the computer, however we had to ask, and we had asked and we couldn't use it. And he wasn't there to stop us, but we didn't do it.
Except, well, sometimes, like, if he was gone, like he said, I'll be gone for, like, an hour, and he'd be gone for 8 or something, then we'd, like, start breaking down around the 6-hour mark and be like, well, let's just computer on, and then we'll turn it off. And then we'd, like, okay, let's turn it on. And we'd turn on, and then his car would drive up, and you guys been playing on the computer the whole time I've been gone? But we just why don't you do anything? But you were...
Yeah.
And so we actually got a little savvy to it, and sometimes we're like, oh, Dad hasn't been home for like 10 hours, and he said he was going to be home. Like, what happened? And it's like, was his flight delayed, or like, what's going on? And we're like, let's turn on the computer.
No, I'm seriously, that man has like some sort of superpower or something. I'm serious about that. Because
like, go downstairs and get me the garlic pasta sauce. That's not garlic pasta sauce. There is no garlic pasta sauce. It's just this kind. It's like, no, go down and do it. Go down. There's definitely only this pasta sauce. Yeah. Walks down straight to like this box, opens it. What do you call all these? Or it's like, we went to the store and we're like, okay, we need coconut milk. And they're like, we looked around all the aisles. There's no aisle for like Thai cooking or anything. Yeah. We're like, okay, this is the only aisle it should probably be in. Don't find any coconut milk whatsoever. Like, comb the aisle several times.
I asked my friend who stocks
shelves. And then we go to the person who works there, who stocks the shelves. Says, okay, is there any coconut here? Where is the coconut milk? They're like, there's no coconut milk in this store. You'll have to go somewhere else. We're like, okay. We go home and it's like, we couldn't find the coconut milk. He's like, we need the coconut milk for the recipe. There's definitely coconut milk. And he's like, I'm going to the store. Takes us to the store, walks straight to this like section, pulls coconut milk. And
it's not even he pulls coconut. He reaches into the back of the shelf where it's like, what the heck? It just like pulls out some extra dimension. It looks like, oh.
It's like, bam, coconut milk. Why didn't you get the coconut milk? It's right in plain view. But no, it wasn't there. The store itself said they don't have coconut milk.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Or a situation where it's like, oh, Dad hasn't been home for a while. Like, I'm just going to like go out and wait for him, like I did this one time. And so I like went out to the little cul-de-sac area and sat there and waited for him. And I like waited for about an hour. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to go home now. I turn around, blue car comes down the hill.
I did that a few times too.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Or it's just like, I was like, I'm really hungry now. He hasn't been home for ages. I'm going to make myself some food. Like, I'm just going to make it for myself. Yeah. And make myself some food.
Why don't you make enough for 2 people?
Yes, actually.
I know. It's happened to me. It's like...
I was like, I thought you would have eaten at this point. Like, it is so late. I'm making myself a snack.
All right, you'll be home for supper at 6 o'clock. Okay, it's 6 o'clock, not here. 7 o'clock, not here. 8 o'clock, not here. 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to make myself suffer because he's obviously gone off to some event or something.
Or like...
Okay, and then it's like, vroom! We're making enough for 2, but...
Or it's like, the one time it's like, all right, I'm going to make supper for him this time. He's going to come home, going to have supper ready. Like, we're going to have supper together. I make it 10 o'clock, like I make it at 6. I've been in the kitchen 6 to 10 o'clock adding to this meal, cooking more and more stuff, just waiting and waiting, and like used up almost all the food in the kitchen, and like so much food, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't home at time. And it's like, how are you going to eat all this? And it's just...
Yeah, sorry, I was out eating at the restaurant.
Actually, that's happened too. Like, yeah, I got supper. Or, no, it's just like, no anticipation.
I think dads have access to extra dimensions and different, like, realms of thought.
Yeah, what was that one
like, I need you to read my mind and also be able to, like, access a second parallel Earth.
Yeah, what was that one comic where it's like, go get the keys off the table?
Yeah.
It's like...
There's nothing on the table.
And then it's like, what? It's right there. And Dad, like, points to the table as he's walking forward. The keys just, like, teleport.
Here. There's, like, pop! Yeah, it's like dad powers.
Or, like, there's these little gremlins that, like, walk about and...
Yeah.
Like, just put the keys down. They're like the gremlins.
The one I hated, this would be, like, you'd turn on, like Ocarina of Time or something, and you'd be like, okay, I'm going to play a little bit. And so you'd play for, like, 15 minutes as Dad was leaving off to somewhere. And then he'd come back like 3 hours later, and you played for 15 minutes, turned it off, and then you're like, oh, that's actually pretty fun, and it doesn't look like anything's going to happen anytime soon, so I'll play another 15, 20 minutes of Ocarina. So you sit down, you're playing for another 10 minutes, so you've played like half an hour total. Comes home, it's like, you've been playing the whole time I've been gone? Get outside! It's like,
yeah.
Trauma.
And no, it almost makes you want to be a parent so you can fear them up.
Man hands on misery to man. Goes as wide as a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can, and don't have any children yourself.
I know, but you sort of want your kids being Marcus Aurelius, you know? Like, you want to raise them so...
Yeah, but you can't shelter them either. That's the thing. Like, it's hard, because you have to restrict them, but you also want them to break your rules.
Yeah.
You almost have to, like...
Make rules to be broken.
Hint somehow, like, leave clues that you want them to break the rules. Like a podcast many years ago, and that they may stumble across and listen to. Oh, speaking of which, I was listening to our original Walla Walla Washington podcast, and, I was thinking it might be interesting to, like, it's not good enough to make its own episode and just, like, it's pretty bad, a lot of it. But we could, like, maybe comment on it. I don't know how it would work. Just a thought.
You want to do that with our first, like, ones we did when we were kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Like, the Walla Walla Washington
one. The very first one on the cassette tape.
Yeah.
Not even on my iPod, that doesn't work.
Yeah, no. The one on the cassette.
Oh.
Because I was listening to it the other day. And also, I kind of want to...
It sounds so weird.
Hello! My name is Connor!
I have such weird sound. I thought I had like such a deep voice, and no, I don't.
I actually had a fairly deep voice. Like, although the very earliest ones I don't. And I'm reading like Hank the Cow Dog. I'm like, it's me again, Hank the Cow Dog.
And you're trying to be all cool. You're a dumb little kid.
Alrighty.
Kids are.
We're singing it. It's not adorable if it's you. It's just annoying.
What?
Like yourself.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, definitely.
it's just like...
But no, like
did you actually delete that video of Mom's? That was amazing. Did you end up deleting it?
Unfortunately, no.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, good. Because, like, man, that's so adorable and awesome. Like, such a touching moment. Like, but
No,
you had such a negative reaction. It's like this video of Connor singing My Heart Will Go On when he's, like, I don't know, fairly young. And he's just like, near, far, wherever you are. And he was just mortified by it for some reason and, like, was yelling at everyone and, like, breaking down and, like, took it to his, like, this was not the moment it was recorded, but after, like, when he was older and had a deep, manly voice. And then he, like, went to his room and barricaded himself with the iPod so he could, like, delete it. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why you'd be that, like, have that much investment in your past self or something. It's like...
Yeah, no.
I don't have that much investment in my present self.
Cameron, if there's one piece of advice that I could, like, know the whole thing, like, you go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, no, but, you give yourself one piece of advice.
Yeah.
If, like, that piece of advice you could give, like, I would say it differently, but if, like, you could say it...
And they'd understand it.
Yeah, understand it perfectly. It would be, to me, I think it would be, get over yourself.
Yeah. Mine would be, boundaries. Set them.
Yeah, but
Set them in stone.
I'm pretty sure for me, it would be, get over yourself. Actually give that advice to other people as well if they don't like
exactly advice a lot of the time.
It's really good advice if they followed it.
Idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't take yourself too seriously. Like, that's, like, yeah, like, present, future, past. Just, like, God, nobody cares. Like, the only one that cares is you. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. When you send out those, like, messages that are mortifying to all your closest friends and say, like, I have betrayed you for years, and now I shall be an honest person, and I wish to express when I love, and laugh when I laugh, and live when I love, and love when I laugh. And
actually, the one I hate on Facebook is, I'm putting this out there to see everyone who cares reply to this. You're actually my friend. I almost want to reply to that, which is, you have no confidence in anyone that is your friend. How dare you?
Yeah. How dare... No, honestly, how dare they?
Yeah, it's not a part of House Windigo at all.
Yeah.
Filthy muggle.
House Wumpus. That's my house. Although, I like ours better. But,
actually, your House Wumpus, the, like, made-up creature?
Yeah.
No, Wumpus is the invincible creature, right?
Wumpus is, like, the Gryffindor equivalent thing. It's like an invisible...
Yeah, no, No,
invincible, like, badger or something. I can't remember.
I'm the Hogwarts. I mean, Hufflepuff.
You're the one that makes people laugh?
This one's really long and I'm running out of song, so I shall sing for you. La 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 la. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, like, don't, like, honestly, like, that thing, like, I sent out that message, and, like, the next day everyone was like, oh, you want to talk about it? It's like, no. And then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we just get on with our lives. And then my best friend, he took me aside, he's like, what was that about? And like, he was driving me to a party, and he's like, what's that about? And I was like,
I had a dream. I had a dream.
I had a dream. Well, I said,
What's
actually,
the original I had a dream thing that you said? That's so terrible.
I don't even want to remember. But so what I said...
I think it's like the exact opposite of Martin Luther's dream is what he said.
But so I said to him, which I think was partly it, I was like, I have no idea why I sent that. Like, I get, like, these things at night where I feel like I desperately have to send these messages to people. Like, I have to be honest. That's the thing. Like I talked about last time, slapping yourself with a rosebush.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be honest. And, like... And so
Sorry.
I get these, like, compulsions of, like...
Like, go back in time and slap yourself. And that's the message. Like, how would you react to that? Like, just even, like, right now, like, just you, like, this portal, like, opens up in front of you, like, some version of you jumps up wearing, like, clothing from the future, says nothing, like, slaps you or even slaps you with a fish.
Oh, no, that would hurt.
Okay, no, he just slaps you across the face, like, just smack, then turns around and jumps back into the portal.
That changed my life.
It would?
Oh, yeah. That totally changed my life. Like, I'd be like, wow, I need to, like, do something different here. Like, the one time I'd do it, right?
Yeah.
Was, see, this is the time I was dishonest in a way. Like, it's like the time I cheated on a test where no one was harmed except me.
Yeah.
And it was, so I was walking along, and I think I talked about it before, there was this girl I kind of wanted to ask out to prom, but I was really nervous to do so. And I was going along, and I saw this, I can't remember if I saw her or this guy, but he was, like, texting, I think I said this before even, texting her, let's say it was him, just for some, and he was texting her, like, oh yeah, looking forward to prom. And I was walking along the hallway, and I just, like, was glancing to my side, and I saw his text message, like, somehow with super eagle vision, like, oh, you're sending a message.
Like, in a movie, it's like you're walking and that like zooms on texture, just like glance you over.
Yeah, and I was in a class, and I saw like his message to her, like, oh, you're gonna like ready for prom sort of thing. Like across the hallway, like somehow read his tiny phone screen, sent to her, and I was like, oh, he already asked her out, and so I'm not gonna ask her out. And also on top of that, I was in a class of only girls. Who it was my creative writing class. Well, except, there's a guy that wasn't a girl, but he left most of the time.
Yeah, the class of pure girls.
Yeah, and I was in another class that was pure girls because there's 3 of us, and so both of them, like, I spent a lot of time with these girls because they were in a bunch of my classes, and so they were gathered together with like a bunch of their friends, and I was just in the hallway sitting on a bench somewhere, like I wasn't hanging out with them or anything, and they were talking. It's like, man, so this person asked me if like the girl I wanted to ask to prom had a prom date yet. Like, oh man, I would like totally hate if someone did that, and I would not, like, I want to protect her from them and like not tell them, oh yeah, she already had a date and stuff. So I definitely would be so like I would consider anyone that like asked someone out like that a loser. And I was like, I don't want to be considered a loser. So, and that it was her cousin who was talking to her. I didn't even know they were related, but yeah. Anyways, so I would just be like, when I glanced that text message, I'd be like glancing at it, like the thought would be resolving in my mind, and then a portal would open in the middle of the high school hallway, and an older would step out, just whack.
Not even, it's just a sucker punch. It's like a left hook.
Just whack. And I'd be like, what? Wait, what is... And then I'd be like, was I walking wrong?
If you do it with yourself too young, like you go back in time and you're too young and you whack yourself in the face, you might just get really upset.
The other one might be that time that I was looking after you and your best friend, and then his mom came. I just like teleport in, just, okay, maybe we should go with you. Whack!
Yeah.
Stay. And then just like, boom, turn to his mom. Good day. Step through the portal. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah. No, I think for me now, there'd be...
Or the time, like, I was about to steal that candy, as I saw it as stealing, just, vroom, whack! This will lead you down a life of crime.
For me now, there'd be several times, I think, just, like, I'll slap myself just for, like, I don't know.
It'd be really hard to interpret the slap unless, like, that's why I chose those situations, because there's bigger, more fundamental things I'd like to change in my life, but you couldn't do it with a slap because you'd have, like, why'd you slap me?
Yeah, but the only message you're allowed to send back in time is a slap.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like, what if there was, like, a moment in your life where you know now that you really should have, like, turned left at a corridor when you should have turned right, or something. But you weren't thinking about that when you're going down the corridor. You were thinking about, like, I'm going to have eggs for lunch. Guy appears out of a portal. Whack! It's like, okay, I'll have toast.
Yeah. You have to, like, have a cell signal.
So you'd really have to do it right.
Cameron, right now you just have to understand now, it's set up, which if it's ever, like, a binary choice, or, like, left or right, or yes or no, it's which side of the face gets slapped off.
Well, that's the thing, like, some people have, like, a code word, so they know if it's actually them traveling back in time or just, like, an evil clone. But I've done that before, but I keep forgetting them, so it's not useful for me.
There's a comic which had that.
But there is an event that I've always remembered, which that's my thing. It's like, what event is the one that we've remembered?
Yeah, well, there's this comic where this, like, girl goes back in time and, like, meets her time clone, and then they both say, like, something like the code word, and her older brother, what the heck is that meant to mean? It means we're meant to make out with each other. And he's just like, what?
Why is that like, XKCD does that a lot with like time travel and making out with your past. Why? Disgusting.
Yeah.
And weird. Like, what is that even?
Maybe it has to deal with being a cartoonist. Maybe cartoonists are just depraved individuals.
Or like, do they wish they're identical twins and have incestuous leanings or something? Like, what's going on? Just
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
go back in time and slap one of them before they write that comic.
Just, I don't know if it would change them enough.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher with Cameron and Connor.
Yeah, Cameron, you can go back in time and slap any historical figure, and they'll know you're from the future.
Julius Caesar, when he's crying, sitting outside Alexander's tomb. I'll never amount to anything. Whack!
Julius Caesar, when he's about to go off to be assassinated.
Whack! No, Brutus, when he's about to assassinate Julius Caesar. Whack! Come on, man, he's your friend.
You're gonna defend him. You're his bodyguard.
Yeah, he's like your friend.
Or, what was it? when Alexander the Great got to the end of the ocean and he cried because there's no worlds left to conquer. Just
Get over yourself! You spoiled brat.
but that like
Have the best army on Earth handed to you on a platter, and you cry all the die from it.
Yeah.
Actually, well, no, that was Attila the Hun.
yeah, no, he got assassinated.
He may have just choked on his wine.
Let's see.
Aristotle didn't necessarily kill him.
Let's see. He was getting sicker and sicker, and so that's why he had to return from campaign. And either Aristotle or the woman he'd married had access to his food, and they didn't like the way he's going his life. How he's getting poisoned was very similar to, I think, lead poisoning, and they had access to lead to poison him with in his wine.
So Aristotle kind of makes sense, though, right? Because he had the golden mean, right? So he's like, poisoning someone, way too far.
Yeah.
Not poisoning someone, also way too far. You have to poison them. That's the golden mean.
Golden mean, sorry. But it's actually like quite possible that his wife poisoned him. Because like his sickness was like a heavy metal poisoning.
Or like when... I just kind of want to slap like a bunch of historical figures now. Like when...
Julius Caesar at the Rubicon.
Man, that changed history. Just like, should I cross the river? I can't go back. Once I cross, I'll be starting a civil war. I'll have to fight my best friend. Rome will be changed forever. I'll be a dictator, a tyrant, but I will save my people. What do... Whack!
Yep, that's the thing. They know you're from the future.
It's like, okay, so I have to live life differently. And then, that changed history so much.
Yeah.
It's like the Roman Empire might never form.
I think Julius Caesar is actually kind of important historical figure.
I think he might be the most important.
Yeah.
Like, he's...
History happens to some people. I think
Like-
he did history.
Like, like Alexander the Great, right?
Yeah.
Philip of Macedon would have conquered everything if Alexander hadn't.
Yeah.
Like, Alexander just stepped in to fill the shoes.
Yeah.
Whereas Julius Caesar, like, he made a choice.
Yeah.
He made a choice to change history. I guess it's possible that a different general would have, like,
Yeah.
done it, but no, I don't think any other general was situated like he was. Like, no one was as respected as he was. Because he had just, like, been whipping the Gauls.
Yeah.
He was like...
Napoleon comes back from exile to, like, have his... Like, if any man would slay his emperor. Like, just as he's saying that, just, you peer there and slap. How did the army react? Like, everyone who's there also knows that you're a time traveler from the future.
Whack!
Or what? What's his name? We'll fight him from the air and the sea.
Oh, Winston Churchill?
Yeah. At some point, slap Winston Churchill. I don't know. I think slapping Winston Churchill actually
Just
would
like, punch you back or slap you back.
No, he wouldn't change anything. I'm pretty certain.
Oh yeah.
That's a man. That's a man more certain of his actions than any. Like
Man has two natural professions: war
and
gardening.
No, but also he looking at him historically, like he is so convicted.
He was one of the few people that had a great time in World War I and II.
Yeah. However, he isn't. Was it him who said like, if we're too harsh to the Germans, they'll have a demigod and they'll listen to whatever we say, or is that someone else? He was British.
I thought it was the head of the United States.
No, it wasn't the United States. It was the British.
I thought it was the United States, but yeah.
Yes. Be nicer.
Good old Winston Church.
If you were my husband, I would poison your wine.
If you're my wife, I'd do it myself.
If you're my wife, I'd drink it.
Yeah, if you're my wife, I'd drink.
Was it other one?
You're drunk. I may be drunk, but you're ugly, and tomorrow I'll be sober.
Tomorrow we'll see which one is sober.
Who's sober and who's still ugly. He's great.
What a jerk.
Or like Otto von Bismarck.
Ooh.
Alright, we're going to manipulate them like this and this and that. Whack!
Actually, not all.
I'm confused.
No, not Otto von Bismarck.
Oh, the guy that fired him.
Yeah, the emperor, like, right there. I'm going to fire Otto von Bismarck and take control. It's not even like, wham, you, like, get that guy into a headlock and, like, give him a noogie or something, like a Dutch
noogie
rug.
until it says he
give him
won't
a
fire
Dutch rugs, maybe, like, what's that burn called? Like, you...
Yeah.
That nasty thing someone stronger than you does to your
It's
arm.
called a snake.
Yeah, snake bite.
No.
Right, yes.
Indian burn.
Yeah, you just, like, big old slap.
Yeah. Yeah. You could really change history with that, I bet. Although, like, I don't think actually Otto von Bismarck, like, he probably had such a complicated mind, it would have been like, well, I'm not sure what that was in relation to, so I'll just...
That's what I'm saying, like, the person who fired him. Or even
Kaiser
not historical...
Kaiser Wilhelm, I think.
Yeah, not even historical figure, like, Tolkien's, like, about to, like, publish The Lord of the Rings, like, alright, I'm gonna go and get this published, and you slap him. Or, was it, like, some really bad... Before they made, the movie, the Ender's Game movie, like, the director who, like, had... This is a good script.
Or, like,
You
every
slap
single
him.
time Genghis Khan picked up, like a thing of alcohol, just slap it out of his hand, just wow, and let him conquer the world.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it kind of, if he's done like 75% of the world, you kind of want to see him to go all the way. Like, it's just cool.
Oh, actually, historical figure. That's a Chinese emperor.
Qin?
Yeah. Actually, a slap I don't think would change him because that guy's...
Emperor Qin?
Yeah.
The man wasn't an idiot. He was like, he knew what he was doing. That man
made
was
himself immortal.
He was a hero.
He stopped China from conquering the world?
No, he stopped China from civil war. He united China. He burned all the books so that China would be united as one nation with no past. He like conquered all the people that rebelled against him. Like you remember that movie? You know the movie?
Yeah.
Hero or whatever it's called?
Yeah, that Chinese propaganda of him.
Like that's him. And he's like, and he convinces the assassin like,
yeah,
I'm doing this because I need to. And he's like, because this is our land. That's what China means. It means divine land. And you have to do it for China. It's divine land. And it's also named after me, which means, was his name God?
Yeah.
Basically.
But
if China means divine land, and his name was Qin, does he basically mean like divine?
China...
Or do they do it backwards?
At that point in time, like the amount of IDs and stuff, China had some of the most advanced medical knowledge,
but they were fractured.
Advanced
weak
mathematical knowledge, most advanced literature knowledge, the strongest navy on the planet. They actually had maps of the whole world.
He saved millions of lives.
He caused one of the most bloody civil wars ever.
The most bloody war ever.
Yeah.
In terms
and
of
also
percentage. Was that him or was that someone else?
No, that was him.
Yeah.
And China after him was ruined for hundreds of years.
But it had to be done.
No.
China is the most powerful country today, or one of them, because of his works. Because they stayed united since then, basically. Like
it's one of...
How else would they be unified? They were constantly fighting. He did what he had to do.
China would have been the whole world. The whole world would have been China.
Except a fractured China. It would have just been the whole world, but with Chinese names instead. It would have...
And ideals and religion. The world would have been China. Like, actually.
Well, actually, that's... I mean, you're saying that as if it isn't. Like, you look... Well, because when you look throughout history is like 10,000 years old, at least, and like actual like human civilization is like 40,000 years or something crazy. Yeah. So you get like... You have stuff like China is the most powerful nation throughout history. Yeah. It just has, it ebbs and flows. Yeah. And right now it's at an ebb and it's still one of the most powerful countries on Earth. It's
starting to flow.
It's starting to flow again. And it's like, yeah, it's just like we say like, oh, everything's United States centric. It's all about the United States. United States is a blip in a history of China, Egypt, China. So basically it was like Egypt, China, like the Middle East, China, Ottomans, China, England, China, United States, China. Like it's all China is always China forever. Mm-hmm. I asked the teacher, I was like, I wanted to be like clever and sort of have fun. He's a history teacher. I was like, what like civilization has been around the longest? Is it like Egypt? Because they've been around since like the Old Kingdom, and the Old Kingdom was ancient. And he's like, China? Oh, yeah, right. Obviously, okay. Yeah. It's like China's always been there. China will always be there
since the rise. Egypt, like China's been around since the rise of Egypt, almost.
Yeah, I think Egypt is older, but because the Old Kingdom is so different from like the kingdom that took over after and whatever, I don't even know the names of the other stuff, but the new kingdom maybe, young kingdom, but like they're so different. And like as well as, I mean like technically the oldest ever would be the Akkadians because one of their emperors alone lived for 40,000 years.
Yeah.
But the historical accounts of that might be slightly off.
Yeah.
I figure what happens in those cases, I don't think people are lying or embellishing even. I think what happens is an emperor lives to like 90. And the average lifespan's like 30 or something. Yeah. So you have someone that's like, how old's the emperor? He's like, well,
he was emperor when my
grandfather was a child. Yeah. And when his grandfather's grandfather was a child. And so he must be like thousands of years old.
Well, there's
and then like, well, they might say he's like a couple hundred, he's like ancient beyond belief. And so they won't say he's like 40,000 years, but then like the story will go on and it's like, well, the old emperor, he lived for generations stretching back as far as people could remember, and it just grows after that. Like
it's either
although apparently the Bible has a point where they multiplied everything by 10.
There's a Akkadian, like what you're saying, that nation emperor.
Yeah.
Or he was a pharaoh.
Yeah.
Who when he died, like he lived a really long time.
Yeah.
And he had kids quite old. And when he died, his son looked a lot like him, wore the exact same clothing, and because of their clothing, they like shaved their hair completely and wear wigs and also have the fake beards. And like that happened twice or something. So that person lived a long time, had kids when they were old, And so it looked like one of the emperors actually lived for 200 years.
Well, there's also like communication lines where you're a peasant, there's a new king, you don't hear the news because you're off in your field, and you go to the temple and you're like, oh, it's the same guy.
Yeah.
I thought like when I came here when I was like a boy, he looked quite old, and he actually looks even almost younger now. Like, wow, that's crazy. And then like you tell your son about that story, and your son goes there like 30 years from there, and it's like, hey, Dad, I was there, and he's like still like looking the same, and it's like, guy's immortal.
Yeah, but like that one case,
see it happening.
It was either like the one, the like Akkadians or Akkadians or Egypt. I think it's the Akkadians, where basically like they had 3 rulers in a row who almost looked identical, and like their combined ruling time was over 200 years.
Well, there's like the that was another ancient civilization, Babylon.
Yeah, sorry, it was the Babylonian.
Sumerians.
It was a Babylonian ruler who it's like...
Well, the Sumerians were the Akkadians in the
Yeah, but like historically, like you look at, and like the records say he lived for over 200 years.
Yeah.
Then you look at slightly other records, and it's like exact same names. They looked really similar, like their ages line up. So it just looked like one continuous person, even though it's 3 different people.
So I want to go on the record stating that earlier I said that there's a part of the Bible where they multiplied everything by 10. I'd like to go on the record stating that I don't actually agree with that, because they did some math with that, and it would turn out that some people are having kids when they're like 3 and 8 and stuff, so it doesn't work. So just in case people think I'm uneducated about that specific issue, I just want to know that I am, but I'm not as uneducated as you think, potentially. So, yes, thank you.
Covering your arse.
Yeah, I am.
Something jumped up and bit me.
I just want, in case people think, this person, he thinks that people ages were multiplied by 10 in the Bible. Well, it doesn't work, because for this to happen. Like, I don't want that, because I don't know. You know what? That's not nice. I'm going to do... Excuse me, but it seems like it's the wrong thing. I'm a biblical scholar, and although it is common for people who are uneducated to be unaware of it, and I by no means expect you to understand them, because you certainly have interest in other areas, I'd like to inform you that the multiplying by 10 isn't as simple as it would seem, because then some of the ages in the Bible just simply wouldn't work at all. And like, so we can go on to the next part where they explain something else to me. I don't want to make because I don't want to insult or correct you. But that's the thing. There's this idea that, like, I was doing this quiz and I've heard it a lot, like ignorance is a bad thing or stuff. And look, you're never gonna learn anything. You're always gonna be stupid. Like,
idiot.
Everything you know is wrong.
Everything you know is wrong, you idiot. You don't know nothing.
Yeah, like even that is wrong, because you probably know something.
But it's nothing important.
Yeah, like
you don't matter.
Well, look, we don't know that though, but like everything you know is wrong. So like ignorance is not a crime or bad. Inflexibility is bad, because you need to be flexible to like adapt when the information. Like there's a guy, he was accused of changing his mind all the time, and he said, when facts change, I change. Like that's how, like.
Who was that?
I don't remember. I think it might have been a general of the United States, but I could be totally wrong. I don't remember who it was.
When the facts change, I change. And the facts right now say you're... Look at your divorce. Sorry. Yeah, so, you lied.
Yeah, and I was dirty, and I feel bad, and now I will be completely honest, and I will, from now on, I shall express my love and devotion to every person the moment, and I shall only talk about things that interest me, and I shall not be interested by anything anyone else has to talk about, and I shall be a good person from now on. And
you want to talk about?
No, more of a, like, general.
Lol.
There's a dream, like, like I had a bad dream, and so what I said to my friend in the car was something like, I just I don't know why I did it. I think I'm just kind of mildly insane. Like I think what I actually said. And see, this is another cringy thing to relate in a way, a little bit. But it's sort of... I was like, I don't need drugs, because I basically do it to myself anyways. Like, my mind seems to be, like, make its own or something. Like, I don't know if... Like, I said that back then. I'm not saying I believe it now. But, like, because I had, like, a bit of Lewis Carroll syndrome back for a while. Sometimes occasionally still, where I'm like... Oh, I'm having it a little bit right now, actually, if I just talk about it. Weird. But, yeah, where you, like... Everything suddenly seems like really small and far away, or like really big, and like it's just like you're like, whoa, everything's moving away, and it's so far away, and my hand is huge. Whoa.
And you're so good.
No. And and sometimes I get like a little bit hyper occasionally, and but I think I've become much more stable recently, which is good. I've been feeling really great recently, actually. It's been good. Maybe I'll say, except for this illness, I've been quite sick, but it's been like a hidden illness that no one can.
And I don't want to know about it because I'm stoic.
Well, it's just intense pain in my stomach. but it's not really anything.
Wear looser pants.
Genius. Actually, I used to think I had like a hip issue or something, like a really stiff hip or like I don't know, some damage to it or something. And then I stopped having my phone in my pants, and it went away. And I was like, oh, my phone was just stabbing me repeatedly when I walked.
Yeah, or sometimes like, oh, my stomach's like really hurting right now. And I unbutton my pants and I just feel way better.
You need looser pants. These things go up to like your knees. Like, can I have them? Because they're white and I wear white pants. That's my thing.
No.
They're way too small for you. I'll give you socks.
Yeah, those are my socks.
No, I'll give you different socks. I'll give you this. I'll give you the Starry Night Sky socks because they don't fit me.
Okay, deal.
And I think they might fit you.
Deal.
Because you have skinnier feet than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, take them off and I'll get you the socks.
No. I'm not Lewis of the Oxcast. I do not get naked while recording.
You record with clothes on? Weirdo. So yeah, I think my new cult thing, since it feels like we should probably wrap up. Oh, you have something?
Just one other thing
I
had, which is what you're saying about like saying those really important things or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it actually doesn't affect anything. There is sometimes when it can affect people and it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's when you ask someone who's your friend out.
Yeah.
And they say no, and then it becomes awkward.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be awkward.
Well, it just feels awkward in that moment.
In the moment,
I mean,
sure. But in the long run...
You get to choose your feelings.
Well, in the long run, though, it's really not. Like,
yeah.
Like, the most awkward thing is breaking... Well, no, the most awkward thing is, like, killing someone's, like, parents or something, probably. But, like, you wouldn't want to invite them to parties anymore. But...
No, killing their children.
That's not awkward anymore. That's just, like, that's enemies. Like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most awkward thing before you become enemies is killing their parents.
Yeah, like, because after that, it's unforgivable. Like, you know, like siblings or children, that's unforgivable. Parents is potentially forgivable, but it's like, and I'm saying it wouldn't be easy, but you'd be like, I was a different person back then, and I didn't.
And then you're like sitting there, and like Tony Stark's trying to talk with Winter Soldier, and he just can't.
Why?
The Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents.
Oh.
That's what the Civil War was all about, the fighting at the end, where Iron Man is fighting the Winter Soldier and Captain America.
I'm not a Marvel buff. I find...
Didn't you watch that movie?
Yeah, but I didn't really know what it was about.
But don't you remember the scene with the helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't really know what the movie was about.
That's like the only thing you remember.
Yeah, well, it's the only scene worth watching again and again. Yeah, I had this other thing, but it came up, but it would be like we have to dig back a ways to say it, so I'll say it later.
All right. Your cult.
Yeah, so I was thinking, like, you know, this silent thing is a bit too, what's that TV? Series of Unfortunate Events. Yeah. Very similar to their, like, Don't Cry When We Take You in the Night, It's Quiet Here, something like that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, they're baby kidnapped.
Yeah, they indoctrinate children.
I think that's my favorite TV series now, by the way. Like, it's so good. Yeah. What's your favorite TV series? Is that it as well? I used to really like the dude with the detective, holistic detective, Dirk Gently. I still do, but I think I like the other one better.
I do really...
Unfortunate Events.
I really like Unfortunate Events. I also really like Brooklyn 99.
Yeah. I just think Unfortunate Events is so much... Like, it's like...
And
you can't be afraid of fire. Even though your base state is fear. You can't fear the flame.
And I really like Fate Zero because I like that anime.
Because if you fear knowledge, then all you have left is fear.
And
even if the knowledge is dangerous.
I like Sherlock quite a bit. Not the last season as much, but the rest of it's pretty good. Yeah, Christmas episode kind. And
so lame. Like a plot.
I like
murder is acceptable when it's for a good cause.
I like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra.
Women all belong to the Ku Klux.
I like a lot of series, but it's definitely up there. Like, it's definitely a contender. I have to meditate on it. I watch a lot more TV series than you. So.
Yes. But, yes. So, my new culty thing, I think, is, So the first member approaches someone if they think they might be a part of the cult. Yeah. And they say, where is the road to the Valley of the Damned? And...
Where is the road to the perfect sandwich? It is up the infinite stair.
Sandwich is a bit weird. I don't know why we have the sandwich. I want it gone.
I like it.
There's no end to the infinite stair.
Where's the end of the infinite stair?
Bottom.
Where it begins.
Well, then you can walk backwards and get to the top.
But you're not at the bottom.
So if someone is extremely evil, they're actually the most enlightened of us all. See, that doesn't work. That's not where we're going with it. So you sidle up to someone, right, on the bus, and you're like, where's the road to the Valley of the Damned? Now, it needs a bit of work there because that does sound a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's quiet here is a bit more of a normal statement. Yeah. When they're like, Valley of the Damned, like, what? Then it gets a bit... So it might be a bit tricky. So I might need to work on that. But then the reply is, The only road to the Valley of the Damned is the one you build.
All right, so let's try this. So,
All right, so oh, hello there, stranger. I'm getting groceries, and then
hello, stranger. I'm giving you your groceries.
and you say something that tips me off that you might be a fellow member of the cult. You're like,
I have perfect sandwich rate.
a perfect sandwich, you say?
Yes.
Oh wait, that's actually really good. Just I had a perfect sandwich today. Like, that's actually
I had a perfect sandwich today.
yeah. And...
What's the counter thing?
All right, I gotta write this down. One sec. All right, I had a perfect sandwich today, and then you say,
but the only road to the Valley of the Damned is when you pave yourself.
And then you say like you can't have the perfect because you can't have the perfect sandwich, right? And you say you were looking at the finger, not the moon, or something like because
Yeah.
yeah and then you reply you are looking at the finger,
Not the moon. And then they reply, what's the way to the Valley of the Damned?
I think at that point you already know that they're part of the cult. Like that's getting pretty secure after that. I do like the Terry Pratchett where like the cults all have like the first 7 back and forth, and then like the last one's different.
Yeah.
But it's like, what are you doing? Selling mangoes at this time of year? Had a lucky crop. Wow, mine wasn't lucky. But this. Oh, sorry, you want the cult up the street?
I did that in Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Yeah.
Where like the countersigns were like I actually had them thought of ahead of time for the one player. He's like going to the Thieves Guild by accident, and like so these are countersigns. Here's what the person like has to say.
Yeah,
and it's meant to be like a conversation you could have. And then he did it perfectly, and read my he just like did it accidentally, and I was like. All right. Well, I was going to have to like try have a quest where he has to find his way into this Thieves Guild.
But he's in.
He's in, and so he joined the Thieves Guild by accident, and he didn't want to be a part of it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. So you're like, oh, how you doing? I've got this bread. I'm just bringing some bread home, and then you're like,
what, is it raisin bread?
Yeah, it might be.
Well, I myself had the perfect sandwich earlier today.
I had a perfect sandwich today. You say yes.
Yeah, I had the perfect sandwich today,
and then I say. You're looking at the finger, not the moon. And I quirk my eyebrow, because I'm like,
And then I go,
what are you talking about?
That's what I say. It has to be another countersign.
No, I think this is like good enough, because if someone says you're looking at the finger, not the moon, they're never going to say that after the first sentence. I think it's already steady.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. No. Right. Because then if they do know, then they know. And if they don't, they're just like,
yeah.
What?
You're just like, I had a perfect sandwich today, and you go, you're looking at the finger, not the moon. And then they're going to... I guess the thing is they might not want to reveal that they know immediately, so maybe we do need a third one.
Yeah.
Just to like fully... So then you say, but the moon, too narrow. You must walk around it.
No, it should just... It doesn't even have to be related to that. It's just like...
I cannot walk that line. Because like, you can't walk the line. You have to like weave back and forth on it, right?
Or, no, I think it should have to deal with the infinite stair at this point.
Yeah, this is. The infinite stair weaves in and out of the pillar it's built upon because the infinite stair can't approach the elevator of perfection. It has to take the long way.
Wait a minute. Did like, all of us, like, we have to climb the perfect stair, but Jesus just gone to the elevator.
It's deep.
It doesn't mean he's at the top. He's just in the elevator.
Yeah, he's just... He's
Same with Buddha. Buddha was
staying on the line.
Yeah, Buddha was in the elevator.
Well, no, Buddha was on a really wide, wobbly staircase, actually. Because he went to extremes. He was like, life, there's nothing in life that is wrong. And then life is all suffering. And then he's like, oh, wait, you can actually make life a bit better.
Yeah.
I would not put him on the elevator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But maybe don't even need a countersign for that. It's just...
But then they might not... But then what if... But then, like, you might not be... Oh, well, wait. If you say, I have a perfect sandwich today...
Yeah.
And then I say, I was looking at the moon, not the finger. They need to reveal that they know it, because they might not...
Yeah.
They might just, like, stare at you. So we do need one more.
Yeah.
So...
Look at...
We need, like... Because there's, like, the lines, right? And the... You're looking at the moon, not the... you're looking at the finger, not the moon, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then you go, that's because I am not the philosopher.
No.
I'm a philosopher and not a fool?
No.
It has a bit of better... No.
It's, you're looking at the finger...
You're looking at the finger, not the moon.
And then they say, but is not the finger the stairways to the moon?
It's a bit of work, but I'm like,
But it...
I will
But isn't the finger a part of the moon? Because it is, because the moon's everything. So...
I will continue to walk that stair.
Sure.
Because it's just not unrelated, sort of. But like related metaphorically.
Yeah.
I had a perfect sandwich today. You're looking at the finger, not the moon. I will continue to walk that stair.
Yes. Oh dear God, I'll be incredibly terrified if someone who I don't know walks up to me. Somehow has figured out who I am just by my voice.
No, they don't know it's you, and they walk up to you.
Yeah, they say that. I'd be terrified if that happened.
And then, all right, so And then at that point we start arranging a tithe.
Yeah.
Although the point is that the cult's very small.
Yeah.
That was my whole logic behind the cult.
It's exclusive.
Well, it's more like it's self-selecting.
Cameron?
Like anyone insane enough to listen to this podcast. Well, it's not like our cult will ever take over the world.